Well, hello there, my fellow Doombots, and in this video, we are going to be taking a look at One World Under Doom Issue 2. Last week, I reacted to the very first comic in this series. I think it's going to be 10 issues long. And this week, I'm going to be reacting to the second issue, of course. This is a comics explained video. I enjoyed the first one, and I'm really interested to see where the second one goes because I haven't read it myself yet. I haven't gotten my hands on a copy at the moment yet, but of course, when I do come across it, I will purchase this comic.
Doctor Doom destroys the Fantastic Four, and this is crazy. So, what this does is
Oh, I cannot wait for Doctor Doom to destroy the Fantastic Four finally.
this initially opens up with the Fantastic Four essentially facing off against Hydra forces, basically. Just because of the fact that in the first issue of One World Under Doom, we ended up finding out that Doom had actually killed Baron Zemo, and then essentially tricked Hydra into believing that Baron Zemo was still alive and leading everything. When Hydra found out, they basically went nuts. And
this is so stupid. So basically, Doctor Doom converted Hydra, which is just a bunch of Nazis, into actually doing something good. And then the Avengers literally blocked him by exposing that he replaced Baron Zemo, who is a dirtbag, like low-level scum. He exposed Doctor Doom for murdering him and replacing him with a Doombot so that his underlings could actually do something good, you know? So that really, the last issue exposed that the Avengers care more about keeping the status quo than actually doing any good in the world. So that was a terrible thing that Iron Man and the Avengers did.
The Fantastic Four are dealing a bit in the aftermath with all of that. But the bigger thing that goes on here is they're trying to figure out what the scheme of Doom is. And no one
The
can...
scheme of Doom, easy. He is trying to take over the world so that he can rule it fairly and justly and make the world a better place instead of keeping the corrupt status quo, which is starving people to death, which is suppressing people. That's what Doctor Doom is trying to get rid of, while you so-called heroes are just supporting this dysfunctional society. It's horrible.
Figure it out, because Doctor Doom has opened all these schools, right? Not just around the United States, but
oh my god, Doctor Doom has opened schools. It's great. It's called a free education. Be happy about it.
like around the world. And the idea was like, okay, so these are like indoctrination schools, right? Dr. Doom is going to bring
What are you talking about? Indoctrination in what? To have good moral values and a high level education? These superheroes find something wrong about anything. Not heroes.
kids in, because the argument is if you target the kids, you target the parents. So indoctrinate the kids and the parents will follow suit.
What?
But that's not true, right? Reed is going through and looking at all of this, and he's like, I mean, as best as I can tell.
That's dumb. If my kid out of nowhere is saying like, "Oh, mom, I really like Barbie. I'm indoctrinated by Barbie." Does that mean that the kids now love Barbie too? What does that mean? It's the other way around. It's the parents that influence the kids, not the other way around. That's a really stupid way of thinking, especially for the so-called smartest man alive. So dumb, man. I'm happy. I'm still really happy about that time Wanda turned his ass into silly string.
This all normal. In fact, it's incredibly ambitious. You could even go so far as to say that it's laudable. Like these schools that Doctor Doom has opened, they're just really well funded and well founded public services. They're giving
Thank you for stating the obvious.
people a good education. And so
Yeah.
that's when you get these different ideas from members of the team who are like,
course.
well, then how do we target him? Now, Ben Grimm chimes in. And
Don't target him. Leave him alone. And if you don't, you will get destroyed. You ugly, blarney, stone, red, orange, onyx looking mofo.
says we may not know what it is, but we know the longer that we wait, the more he's going to consolidate his forces and the
And he
public's
should.
opinion of him. I.e., the best thing we can do is hit Doom now before he gets pretty much the
The
world.
best thing you can do is get out of the way. Doomsday is coming, and when it comes, you better step down or get stepped on. That's the Doombot way, okay? We ain't playing with you, Fantastic Four. We ain't playing.
World on his side. And so instead of simply just attacking and destroying him in the traditional sense, the idea is to
Attacking and
discredit
destroying
him.
him, give me a
And so
break.
that's where Susan chimes in and says Doom's trying to win politically, claiming hearts and minds by building up this legend for himself.
Susan, you already know that your heart's mine, okay? Don't play coy with Doom. Hit me up, baby.
And so Johnny Storm just kind of offers a statement of his own, and he says, so let's beat him up already so this stupid legend dies. We don't actually need to defeat Doom.
What are you talking about, man? Stupid legend dies. Doctor Doom is the only character that has had a consistent comic story since the beginning. Okay, he's the only one that still remembers both Secret Wars. It's not a legend. It's history, okay? Doctor Doom is the ultimate hero of the Marvel universe. He's the ultimate hero in literature. He is the pinnacle of a person making the unpopular decisions to benefit those who need him the most. Even the ones that think they hate him, if his plans would come to fruition, they would all love Doom, because the only thing he wants is for everybody to be prosperous and live a happy and fulfilled life. That's the promise that Doom gives you.
Doom in order to win. We just need to make him look weak and silly. That's how you burn down a legend. You make them look like a chump. And that's where they're kind of all in agreement, and it's like, okay, so then that's what we do, right? We're going to target Doctor Doom. We're going to go after him. He's going to lose a fight to us, but in the middle of this fight, he's going to lose his cool, and he's going to show who he really is.
No way. No way. These guys are going to open a can of whoop-ass on themselves. This is a stupid idea. I don't even know why these dudes are a part in the comic. It should be more Doom and less of these four idiots. It's three idiots and one beautiful woman, but what I'm reading right now here, what a bunch of bozos.
To show the world what he's really about, and this illusion that he's created is going to go away. Now, in the middle of all of this, and this is where things get really, really cool. In the middle of all of this, Valeria chimes in and talks to Susan, and she says, hey, look, Mom, like, I know that you and Dad are out there, you know, doing the whole thing. That's fine. I'm going to go hang out with Bentley from the Future Foundation. But what we end up finding out is when she teleports, that it's not her teleporting to see Bentley. It's actually her meeting with Dr. Doom in the Baxter building itself.
Oh, baby. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm talking about. Uncle Doom. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, this is good stuff.
The way, a bit of an explanation. Hey, so like I basically modified things so that nobody would know that you were here, you know, her talking to Doom, and she's like, hey, you know, like you will just kind of appear as like a guest or something along those lines. But the big thing that goes on here is Valeria, one of the things to remember, she's the smartest girl in the Marvel universe, right? She's smarter than Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. She's right up there with her father Reed and with Dr. Doom. In fact, the three of them routinely kind of trade the #1 spot.
Very interesting. Okay, I didn't know she was this smart. I've never actually read a comic book with the character of Valeria Richards, except for I think the Secret Wars run by Jonathan Hickman. Okay, I'm learning something new.
Who the smartest person in the Marvel universe is, but there is a level of respect that Victor Von Doom has for Valeria, both for her namesake, the fact that he essentially helped Susan bring Valeria into the world healthily, and the fact that he's her godfather. And so because
he's her godfather, man, I need to read more comics. That's crazy. I know that he protected her, but he's her godfather? So he's part of the Richards Storm family? Whoa. Damn. But this outfit looks sick though, man. I love this outfit.
Because he has such a high level of respect for her intelligence, he literally tells her, you are a young woman who has already exceeded the high expectations that I'd set for you at birth. You hold Doom's favor, Doom's respect, and Doom's love.
That's high praise.
You have experienced the merest taste of any, and none have ever possessed all three.
Whoa.
And he says, I keep no secrets from you, Valeria, and I shall continue to do so. And so she asked the question, Make me understand. Tell me exactly what it is that you're planning. What's this grand scheme that you have? And here's the cool thing. Doom is like, why tell you when I can just show you? And so
That's
he ends up
dope.
taking her to this place where they're surrounded by people, but because of Dr. Doom's power over magic, being the new Sorcerer Supreme, no one knows they're there. And so, in looking around, he says, we are at the site of municipal government in a minor Canadian city. It's a symbol of suffrage, pluralism, and representational governance, such as it is. Justify it. And that's where Valeria's like, are you talking about like justify municipal government? And he says, no, Valeria, democracy. This one, anyone, it doesn't really matter.
Let's go, baby. We don't need no democracy. We only need Doom. We need Dr. Doom, the supreme being, to make all of the decisions so that we don't have to, so we don't elect morons who pretend to be there for us but actually only are there to fill their own pockets. Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom is the only way.
Defend democracy to me. Now, what Valeria does is she initially responds with the counter to democracy, which is essentially Thomas Hobbes' worldview, right? She says, okay, I defend it by looking at the alternatives. Consider a world without collective action, without government of any kind. Everyone is fighting for their own self-interest, without rules, without organization, without a way to stop bad actors. Everything would fall.
There is a way to stop bad actors, and it's called structure, it is called consequences, it is called one world under Doom.
This is a Thomas Hobbes perspective, right? Thomas Hobbes was a philosopher that I believe grew up during the English Revolution. He believed he saw humanity at their worst, and it gave him a very cynical outlook on the world as a whole. And so where philosophical principles on a political side argued something called the state of nature, which is society with no ordered government. And a lot of philosophers looked at that as almost kind of like a utopia, that Thomas Hobbes looked at it in a very cynical way, that without any kind of ordered government, people's...
What is going... Wait. This dude is just glossing over the fact that God Emperor Doom is now having a dispute with Celestials? What is going on? I've got to pick this comic up. I think it's very interesting everything he's saying about this philosopher dude, but what is this comic page about? This looks sick.
Inherent nature would give way. That as he described it in the Leviathan, life would be short, brutish, and cruel. A perpetual and permanent war of...
Bro, this is a different comic, right? Let me know in the comments down below. What comic is this? Move aside, Doom. Watch as I end this. Is that Reed Richards with the Infinity Gauntlet and the Ultimate Nullifier? What's going on? This crazy stuff. He just puts this in the background without explaining it. Insane.
All against all. Wars over resources, wars over procreation, the whole 9 yards. And that in order for those human beings in that society to continue to exist without wiping themselves out, they would come together and form the Leviathan, which is essentially a governing body. And that yes, it would be ruled by a king, and yes, that king would probably abuse their power, but that's just the cost of doing business. In lieu of that, you would have the rise of warlords and petty strongmen who would end up doing the same thing.
That looks sick. No, I am Doom. The damned do your worst. I will remain unmoved. I'm sorry, I don't have a really good Dr. Doom voice, Chip.
And people would flock to them for measures of safety.
Holy shit.
But in response to this, Doom says, precisely, Valeria, that's it precisely. You impress me even now, getting to the heart of matters right away. In an anarchy of individuals, there is no authority. There is no control. Opportunities are lost over and over again as power comes only from strength, with alliances forming and breaking out of mere self-preservation. It is chaos without room for morality. It precludes progress, and you rightfully refuse to accept such a system.
Dope. Still think it's crazy they just glossed over those random comic panels there. Those were sick. I need to read that comic as well. Of course, Dr. Doom is right. Dr. Doom is the only way. One World Under Doom is the only way. We don't need all of this individualistic BS. Of course, we want people to express themselves and live a happy and fulfilling life. But to be able to live that to the fullest, there has to be a system to support people to do that. And there is not a system like that now. You have to work a dead end job until you're dead, pay your mortgage. You cannot really live your best life in a society that exists on this day.
Why then, if you reject anarchy at the level of the individual, do you accept it at the level of nations? And he says, until doom, our world was a confusion of 200 competing nations, Valeria, each fighting and scheming for their own self-interest, with no authority to bend those impulses to useful ends. It was the very definition of anarchy. And by your own admission, it should never have been tolerated. And that's
100%. 100%. He is so right. He is so right.
where she responds and she says, that may be how you sell it to others, but I know it's not how you justify it to yourself. Do not tell me you're doing this for humanity, and don't say you're doing it for me. Give me the truth. And he says, the truth, Valeria, is simple. It has always been simple. I seek glory. He says there's no greater motivation, no greater proof that my efforts are sincere. And uniting the world, I've already done what others have long said was impossible. And that's where Valeria says, but these changes you've made, you've done it without consideration for freedom, for consent from the governed. Imposing your will on people is just fascist. And that's where he says, no. Fascism builds its foundation upon a lie, Valeria. My rule is founded upon a truth, that doom is the best of us and the only one qualified to achieve this great unification.
Oh, damn, this comic book is going deep into social political stuff, man. Oh, I gotta read this one. This is crazy. Glory for Latveria. Latveria, the greatest country on earth. 100%.
And there is merit to the argument that Doom's making here, right? When you and I are born into the world and we go out into the world, we kind of unofficially sign a social contract. There are things you just don't do in like American society that you might be able to do in British society or French society or Italian society. But because of the nature of the social contract here, you just don't do it. You don't talk while you're in a movie theater. You don't steal from people, things along those lines.
Yeah.
But we never intended to sign that social contract. We were born into it, and the stipulation of being accepted into society as opposed to being ostracized is following that social contract. So philosophically, there is a credible argument to be made that individuals who do follow the social contract do it without consent. But then again, there's all
Okay. I see where he's coming from. So people are just living to the rules of society because it's like an unspoken rule. But at the same time, because so much is unspoken and all open to interpretation, if you have bad influences when you grow up, you can grow up to be a corrupt person. And if that happens to too many people, that leads to a society where everybody is just only looking out for themselves. And by doing that, in a way, also making other people their victim. So, yeah.
also the argument, you can just leave. Or you can violate the social contract and then people just won't want to hang out with you or anything. But at the end of the day, right, while there are credible arguments on both sides here, and the philosophy of it all is really amazing, to the response of Doom saying that he's the only one qualified for all of this, Valeria says, okay, I cannot follow you there because you're just making a claim. You're just making a declaration that you are the only one who's qualified to do.
No. Like he said in Doom War, when he talked to the Wakandan Panther God, he looked into the future. He saw every single future, and there was only one future where society would prosper, where humanity would not destroy itself. And that was when Dr. Doom was the leader of the world. There's the only way. So no, it's not just a claim.
do it. It's like people who are in their 20s and are so caught up with the fact that they are right in their views and they can fix everything, they never stop to ask themselves the question, if the world could be so easily fixed by a bunch of people in their 20s, why hasn't it been fixed yet? And so, in response to that statement about him needing proof, Doom says,
Why it hasn't been fixed yet is because there's a bunch of people benefiting from the system. And also, there's a bunch of so called heroes in this Marvel universe that are stopping people like Doom from actually making a real change. They're just agents for for corruption. They're just agents for keeping the status quo. So that's why it hasn't been changed, because there's too many people benefiting from this horrible system.
that's why I'm working very quickly to prove it to the world, to earn its consent, including from you, Valeria. Doom hopes he will convince you. But notice this, Doom is doing it in the inverse. Doom is doing one of these things where he seizes control of everything and then starts to prove, or tries to prove, that he's the right guy to do it. On the surface, he would immediately experience rejection, but it also makes sense. Given the history of Doctor Doom and his villainous tendencies, you would be hard-pressed to find anybody out there who would be willing to say, I'll go along with Doctor Doom. If Doctor Doom makes a broadcast to the world, hey guys, so I'm thinking about taking over the world and imposing my will on all of you, and in doing so, it'll make the world a better place. Show of hands, how many people are down with that? Right? You wouldn't find a lot of hands going in the air. If we're being honest here, right? So the only thing he really could do was commit to an act and then demonstrate why his commitment to that act is necessary and why he's the only one to bring about a better future. And so in turn,
we're seeing it, right? No more wars, people getting good education, you are allowed to follow your own passions. You are allowed to be the best person you can be. That's what Latveria stands for. So yeah, he is proving it in this comic why Doctor Doom is the ultimate hero.
Valeria says, I don't know whether or not to say that I hope you can prove it to me, Uncle Doom. And he says, then say nothing and let my actions draw you towards your own conclusions. And so following that, what Reed does is he realizes that with all these different, kind of travel plans back and forth and in monitoring buildings in New York, that there's a lot of...
Look at these bunch of bozos, man. Oh, this is from the first comic. I'm open to suggestions. I don't know. Get out of MCU,
being exchanged at one particular building.
I don't know. I think that Marvel's fine.
And that while he doesn't know the details of everything going on, he knows that Doom is going to be there. And that's when the Fantastic Four decide to make their move. Confront Doctor Doom when he's basically broadcasting to the world, and then get Doctor Doom to show the world who he really is. But I hope you guys are seeing what's going on here, right? That whether Doctor Doom is intentionally goading the Fantastic Four into it, or they're doing it of their own accord, they're essentially setting themselves up to look like bad guys. And so what you do is
I gotta be... Like, I don't really have a lot to say because this is very, very interesting. This is like, I think that the way Comics Explained is talking about this, I'm just like, whoa, man. This stuff's blowing my mind how philosophical it's getting, but yeah, I am enjoying it. One thing that I have a little bit of a criticism of is the art of this comic book. Like, I don't know, if you look on the left, you see that Mr. Fantastic doesn't have a face. It's just blank. There's a bunch of silhouettes, that kind of stuff. I don't really know what that is about. Feels like it's a little bit of a lower budget, but the Doctor Doom moments and Doctor Doom storyline, those are great.
You switch to Doom when he's addressing world leaders and he's addressing the world. And he says, though everyone here is an ally, you know there was some initial unpleasantness in the transition to the new order. But things are changing. Your lives are getting better each and every day. And so that's where all these Doombots basically start to manifest as the security around the United Nations building, and the Fantastic Four immediately attack them and immediately obliterate these things, right? Destroy
What?
every single one of them.
What? They just destroy my fellow Doombots? This is horrible, man. We gotta cancel the Fantastic Four for this. Just a bunch of peaceful Doombots hanging out, and then they just get destroyed. We Doombots have feelings too, you know. Not cool, man. Not cool.
Believing them to be these kind of villainous security forces that would likely go into the building and start attacking everybody.
Bro.
And so that's where Doom kind of continues talking. And he says, today, Doom offers you his next boon. You are a united Latveria, and we shall henceforth and forever act like it. It cannot be, and thus it was never ethical to forever treat someone as lesser simply because they were born on the wrong side of an imaginary line. No.
Ooh, that's sick. A united Latveria. United Latveria. It's a promised land. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-boo. United Latveria. That's a good title for a song. Cannot get over how sick Doctor Doom looks with that Sorcerer Supreme cape. Looks sick.
No longer shall anyone be made to suffer from the accident of their birth. Doom consigns this idea to history, to molder alongside slavery and other abominations of human ingenuity.
Facts.
You may live and work in whatever nation you choose. All shall have free movement from anywhere to anywhere. I give you the gift of open borders.
Sick.
And in the midst of that,
Sick. Open borders. Marijuana is legalized for the entirety of United Latveria, baby. Let's go, baby. Damn, United Latveria. Green fields everywhere. This is what I'm talking about, Doom. Yeah.
the Fantastic Four launch their attack. And that's when Doom literally addresses everybody and says, Doom has given you schools to improve your minds. He's given you hospitals to improve your bodies. And now Doom gives you freedom. Go where you want. Go where there is opportunity. Move freely.
That's sick, man. I wish Doctor Doom would take over man. I love this. I love this. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it always should have been. You know? Victor Von Doom is such a good dude for this. Awesome, man.
Remember that while any of your leaders could have granted you these freedoms, they chose not to. And only Doom chose to. Only Doom made this happen. And only Doom can save you. And so as...
Sick, man. That is really dope. Oh, man. It is just reality. The only reason some things are illegal, like cannabis, is because big corporations want to put you down. They just want to decide something and take away your freedoms and see how long they can push you. That's what it's about. They want to see how much they can control you. And Dr. Doom just wants to give you freedom, man. Dr. Doom just wants you to live your best life. No stress.
As the Fantastic Four appear here, they look like villains. If you're a person out there on the street level, right, just living a regular life, working some 9 to 5, where you work too many hours, making too little money, and then suddenly this guy appears, right, and not only says he will make your wildest dreams come true, essentially, but then actually doesn't, and then another group shows up to attack the guy that's making your life better, of course you're going to consider the other group to be villains. And that's how the world perceives the Fantastic Four and most of the other superheroes. Regardless of what Doom's motivations are, that's how the world sees them. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Because what happens is Doom directly addresses Reed, and he says, Richards, you and your ridiculous family have
Ridiculous
always been
family.
so eager to attack me, but one wonders if you will be so eager to fight innocents instead. And he
Damn.
says, know this, Fantastic Four, there are civilians, ordinary people who happen to believe in what I'm doing. They don't live in fancy towers like you do. They don't have a second home like you do.
Damn, man. Oh, shit. Damn. Oh, fuck. Oh, man. They're getting roasted. Fantastic Four, they are getting roasted by Doom. They're just a bunch of entitled brats. Ridiculous family, man. This is sick. This is great.
These are merely the great quotidian mass of men and women that you've sworn to protect. Will you attack them, Richards, here in the United Nations? Or perhaps you'll try to crush their weapons in your force fields, just as you did to the security outside. Before you do, know this. Their weapons are rigged to explode if tampered with, or if removed from their hands unwillingly. You'll kill them all. And that's where the Fantastic Four look around and Johnny Storm's like, he's using you guys as pawns. Like, how can you guys not see this? But the response of Doom here is no. I'm not using them as pawns. I'm not using mind control on any of them. These are people who have heard my message, they've heard my call, and they've willingly joined. And in fact,
Well, 100%. Who wouldn't join? If you wouldn't join, you're just a fan of bureaucracy and shitty government processes. Who would not join Doom? Like, all of these freaking knuckleheads, man. What's wrong with these dudes? Do they have rocks for brains? I understand if Ben Grimm doesn't get it, but Johnny Storm, Sue Storm, and Reed Richards? Bunch of bozos. What a ridiculous family.
Doom says these patriots knew full well how their weapons operated before they picked them up. Such is their commitment to their belief in the cause of Doom. Tell me, will you respect their rights, their vision of a better planet? Or will you kill them to bring about yours? Answer quickly, Richards. These choices that you're making, they are being broadcast to the world. And so what is going on? This is the ending that I was telling you about where things get nuts. Because what happens is that Reed is like, I mean, obviously we're not going to attack these people. And Doom simply says, good. Then I see my mercy in letting you live in this better world was not misplaced. But Doom's mercy goes further than even you can imagine. Behold, Benjamin Jacob Grimm, the powerhouse of the Fantastic Four, a man by error and ineptitude transformed into a monstrosity.
Oh my God.
A being so hideous, he calls
He's gonna do it! Oh shit! He's gonna do it!
himself the Thing. And behold, Reed Richards, our self-proclaimed smartest man who has failed to reverse
Holy
Grimm's condition
shit, from the
ever
very
since.
first
It
issue
is
of the
a
Fantastic
staggering
Four.
film, a highlight remarkable even among the litany of disappointments of Mr. Fantastic.
Holy
But
shit!
Doom wants what's best for
What?
everyone, even for his most hated
Holy
enemies.
shit!
These four accuse me of weakness, of anger,
He's gonna
of
make Ben
greed,
Grimm
and yet
human
in
again.
his strength, in his greatness, in his generosity, Doom now grants what Richards never could. And he says, and thus Doom cures the unfortunate Benjamin Grimm of his condition forever. And literally turns Ben Grimm back into his normal self. He's the Thing no
Jesus!
more.
What? Holy shit! This is insane! Oh my God, he did it! This fucker! This dude! Mr. Fantastic, Mr. fucking dickhead! He has been letting Ben Grimm walk around like a rock monster for freaking, what is it now, like 60 years? Insane! And he turned it back to a human. This is crazy. What? He just, oh, damn, man. The Fantastic Four. Oh, jeez. Oh, Reed Richards, man. You just let your friend suffer in eternity. And Doctor Doom just did it with a freaking finger snap. Oh, damn, man. This is crazy. This is insane. I was not expecting that, but that is crazy. Damn. Oh, this is great. This is dope.
So the reputation of the Fantastic Four in front of the world is gone. And Ben Grimm is a normal guy. It is amazing. Like, it's phenomenal that he would do this. And so he says, Doom leaves you now. I presume the Fantastic Four will pay for the damages to the United Nations building. If not, detain them. And then he says, in transmission, and leaves. Now, this is where things get really, really cool, because you get these interviews from like everyday people who are being asked the question, how do you feel about everything that Doom is doing? Are you going to stay here? Are you going to go somewhere else? And most of the public opinion has shifted towards Doctor Doom. And in fact, there's this one guy who says, yeah, Doom's a fascist, he's a bad guy, blah, blah, blah. I've heard it a million times. What I haven't heard is one reason why I should feel bad about that when I'm doing better right now than I've ever done before. Of course. And he's fixing the vampires next, right? You know, because again, all this comes out of Blood Hunt. But it's an important thing to know here. A lot of people in the world, not just in Marvel's United States or anything like that, but a lot of people across the world were struggling in a variety of ways. And in times of desperation, people will believe what they want to believe.
What do you mean want to believe? It's a corrupt system that puts people down, which makes you dependent for jobs that pay you minimum wage, put you in a system that you're broke, you know, fighting for scraps. This man is the ultimate hero. He's the only one that can save Earth. This is the only one that can save humanity before it destroys itself. You know? The only one.
Logic has nothing to do with it, right? Politics is almost 100% emotion, and that's what you're seeing here, right? Doom is doing more for them than anybody ever has before. So why should they care about anybody else? Why do the laws of right and wrong, good and evil, fascism versus democracy have any relevance to anybody when they can't put food on the table? And so because of something that's...
What is this? What is this armor, man? I gotta read more comics. I thought I read a bunch of comics, but what is this? Golden, bronze, Doctor Doom armor? This looks crazy.
Simple. Doom has won hearts and minds. The world is legitimately a better place. And there's no loss of freedom here. No one's restricted. No one can speak ill of Doctor Doom or anything like that. There is no downside as far as they're concerned. Now, it is Doctor Doom, so most likely there will be one, but the fact is that in the moment, no one can see what it is. And for the most part, people don't care about threats that they cannot see with their own eyes. And so you have all of these interviews that are being broadcast out to the world. And you have Carol Danvers, who's just watching all of this, and she's like, Avengers, we're losing.
What are you losing? What are you talking about? What do you want to win? Do you want to win that everybody's broke? Who are you fighting for? Who the fuck is Captain Marvel fighting for, you know? We are losing. What are you losing? When people are doing better, heroes, so-called heroes, should be doing better. You're winning. What are you trying? You want people to go broke? You want people to starve? You want people to not have good education? You want people to have to cross borders illegally because people tell them that they are not allowed to find different opportunities in different countries? What is it that you want to win, Carol Danvers? You horrible person. You know, you already killed Iron Man, remember, during Civil War II. You almost tried to lock up Miles Morales because you're a freaking racist, probably, because he would do a crime in the future. What are you winning? Damn, these heroes. They suck. They're villains, man. Jeez. Finally, a comic that writes them how they really are, a bunch of pieces of shit.
Right? We're losing because we don't know what we're fighting. Now, in reality, they do. They're fighting an ideology, right? They're fighting Doctor Doom, basically doing what they never could.
Yeah.
making the world a better place. So people are losing faith
Oh,
in super.
oh, that's a hard line. Let's go back for that. Making the world a better place, something they could never do.
They never could, making the world a better place. So
Fucking facts, bro. He is speaking facts. This is sick. This is sick.
people are losing faith in superheroes. People are looking to the superheroes and saying, if this guy's so bad, why is he doing more for me than you were? Right? That kind of thing. And so, in response to that, the superheroes do the only thing they can do. They grasp at straws, right? Like an old woman clutching her pearls. They're convinced there's got to be something to be afraid of here. And so, in their mind, there has to be some scheme. And so, that's why you have Carol, who says, we're going to split the Avengers into two groups, right? The first one is going to be a wing of magic users and espionage experts led by the Scarlet Witch. They will infiltrate all the capitals that they can, get close to these countries' leaders, and discover how Doom got them to go along with all of this. But in order for that to happen, we need a distraction, which is why, at the same time, the rest of us are bringing the fight to Doom directly to end this while we still can and while most of the world will still support us. But at the end of the day, it is too much.
You ain't got no support, Carol Danvers. Your last movie bombed.
For the Avengers themselves. And so that's why she says, right, as much as we would love to do this on our own, it transcends a lot of our old differences, which means, Avengers, that we now find ourselves with an unconventional group of allies. And what Carol's done is she's brought in the Masters of Evil. A little anticlimactic.
Serious? Serious? This is your plan? This is your plan? You're gonna work with MODOK and Dr. Octopus, Mysterio? This is your plan? These dudes are great. These dudes are desperate, man. Who the fuck is that dude? Is that Dormammu? Who's that? What's that guy? The fucking Doctor Strange villain dude?
But kind of cool at the same time, right? Like, I'm pretty excited about this. You know, like, I'm really interested to see where this goes. But basically, villains
Who the fuck is this dude? Who the fuck is this? Freaking Lucky Charm?
are working alongside the heroes now. Now, for those of you guys who read Civil War, it's strikingly similar to how that plot unfolded. But I am interested to see what.
You really think that these people gonna make a difference? Why? What? I only know Mysterio, Dr. Octopus, and then you got fucking big head dude. Forgot his name. I think that lady is like from Thor. I think the guy on the right, I think he's the bad guy from Doctor Strange. The guy on the left, I have no clue who that is.
Happens because, as you guys know, when it comes to the Masters of Evil, you're talking about some of the smartest people that exist in the Marvel universe,
really look like it.
even if they're villains. And then, of course, there's Arcade, right? Marvel's Riddler, basically. Arcade is dope, and he looks amazing with long red hair. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section.
Okay. That ending is kind of funny. Captain Marvel teams up with fucking Big Head, dude, Mysterio, Dr. Octopus, and like some other people. Yeah, that moment where Doctor Doom transformed Ben Grimm back into a human boy, that was sick. That was sick. And the face Reed Richards was making during that, insane. Something that Reed Richards could have done a long time ago. This is something that Reed Richards could have done a long time ago, but he was just too lazy to do it, man. Crazy. Insane. I love this moment. This has to be like the best moment. Also, they just dips after that. If they don't pay the damages, arrest them. So cool. Cannot wait to pick this comic book up for myself and read it myself. Really enjoyed it. Great video from Comics Explained. And yeah, very interesting philosophical video about how society works, And yeah, I enjoyed it. Doom it out and have yourself a happy Doomsday. Thumbs up. Ciao. Oh yeah, and leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Ciao.